will show an example of a bad way to approach a meeting with a subordinate and also a constructive way to have that meeting as well. The following video will show a conversation between Karen, who's a branch manager, and Ted, her subordinate. The setting is that Ted is asking for a private office, and Karen is unwilling to give him that office due to him only being at the firm for 1 year. She also has some concerns about the way he goes about opening new accounts.
My goal for today is to have Ted understand why having an office at this time is really just not an option. Really to encourage on having Ted focus on being in the office more and driving new business. And finally, that he really leaves this meeting understanding my expectations and knowing exactly where I'm coming from with my goals. Hi Ted, I want to let you know I do have a meeting in 15 minutes, so I only have a short time to discuss this. And I do understand that you want a private office. I want to let you know at this time an office really is just not an option for a new financial consultant that has just one account.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I just brought in a $6 million account, Karen, and I think I need an office.
I completely understand that you brought in a $6 million account. That is a big accomplishment. However, although you've done well with this account, it just doesn't warrant an office. I'm not quite understanding why you feel you need an office.
I can see the $6 million is almost 10 times bigger than my colleagues have gotten. So I think I'm at a point where I need an office, and mainly for my, for the kind of accounts I'm trying to get, I do need some privacy.
I do get the fact that you need some privacy. Just to reiterate, you initiated business for really just one account now. My expectation is that you've been here for an entire year now. I would have expected that you had brought in more business and new accounts. Maybe you can share with me, do you have new accounts that I don't know about?
They are coming. I mean, I'm working on those accounts. It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight. So I am building those relationships. So give me some more time.
Okay. I understand that you are looking for new accounts. I do understand that you really do just have still the one new large account. One thing you really have to consider is that there are 20 other financial consultants here in this office who have consistently brought in new accounts every week, every month. They still don't have an office. And honestly, offices are earned over time. Ted, consultants who have proved themselves consistently and brought in new business, those are the consultants that often earn offices.
But Karen, I think you're missing the point. The reason I'm asking for an office is these accounts work differently. There's often times I have to speak Taiwanese with these clients, and I'd rather do that in a nice office than at my cube.
Well, and you're more than welcome to use a conference room. I see that you're heading in the right direction here with Merrill Lynch, and right now an office just isn't going to be an option. So using a conference room would probably be your best bet if you have a client that comes in that has private information, or if you want to seem more credible. We've got great conference rooms for meetings with outside clients.
I understand, Karen, but I don't think you understand why I'm asking for an office now. Because I have to entertain these clients in offices sometimes, and if they see me in my cube, it's just not going to be. They're not going to trust my advice.
Well, and that's just the point, Ted. You say that in your cube, but you're never in your cube. You're never actually here in the office. You tell me that you want to be in the field more often than you want to be here in the office. When you're here in the office, I don't see that you're even doing prospecting and following the Merrill Lynch model of prospecting to get new business. So I'm confused why you feel that you would need a private office if you're not here in the office very often.
The reason why I don't spend too much time in the office, because I think you just micromanage me always. You're always walking around the cube for 2 hours every day. It doesn't make me productive. It's
not my intent to micromanage. I'm really just looking out for my team. I want team players. I want a team environment. That's the reason I'm on the floor all the time, and that's why I walk around and ask a lot of questions.
But me being on the floor and making calls is just not the way it's going to work. I have to be outside.
Well, I feel like you really need to spend more time here in the building, Ted. It's focus on your new business, and I will tell you, I've been here for 20 years, Ted. I've been with Merrill Lynch. I know the Merrill Lynch model. I know exactly what works. Phone prospecting is what has been successful for all of our employees and all of our colleagues in the past.
Have you worked with the Taiwanese market before?
I have not.
So that's why it is different. You're not getting the whole point of this, because these guys are not going to come to you just because I make calls on them. I need to be outside in the field.
Okay, well, from my perspective, you're not acting as a team player. You refuse to come to the office. You're not here when you are here. You refuse to answer questions when I come to you with specific, information or questions. Not only that, just a couple of days ago, Ted, we asked you to sit at the sales assistant's desk, and you never even showed up. I don't know if you feel like that's above you or what, but you seem to be very resistant. I don't seem to have this issue or request from other consultants, so I'm not sure why you feel that this is so important that you have this office.
You know what, Karen, I think this conversation has really gone way out because now I really feel underappreciated. I don't think you've valued all the work I've done so far, and I'm just frustrated with the whole thing.
Ted, I appreciate you, I really do, but I don't feel like I have control over you. You don't really listen, you're not a team player, and you don't seem to help people here or your colleagues here in the office.
You know what, Karen, I don't think this... I just don't want to talk anymore. I think this conversation is over. Thanks.
Notice that Karen does not attempt to reframe the question. She assumes that she knows all the reasons why Ted wants a new office. She does not clearly inquire in an effective manner to have a discussion. A good example would be to ask questions like, Ted, I really appreciate you building business, but can you help me understand your needs for a private office? I'm not sure that we can give you one at this time, but I really want to make sure I have a full understanding of where you're coming from so I can help meet all your goals in the future. This would lead into a further discussion to help Ted feel appreciated and also brainstorm ideas for his future success. Instead, she controls the conversation and pushes Ted further away. From wanting to deepen his relationship with Karen. Through this way of communication, she pushes Ted further away from wanting to address issues in the future. This in turn can lead into the ideas discussed in the responsibility virus, where Ted will avoid future conversations and frustration will build from a lack of healthy communication and feedback. Karen could really improve her statements by taking a look at the ideas discussed in the ladder of inference. She repeatedly considers the options and makes a decision about how he feels remaining high in the ladder. A much better approach would be to take a step down the ladder and have a discussion of why Ted feels this way and what she can do to address the situation to further his success at the firm.
I have a couple goals for this meeting. My first one is that I want Ted to leave feeling appreciated. My second one is I want to get a little bit more background on where this request is coming from. Lastly, I want both of us to leave feeling like we trust each other and have open communication in the future. Ted, thanks for meeting with me today. First off, I just want to say congratulations. You opened that big account. That was awesome, especially since you're relatively new to the business. I wanted to meet with you today because I know you have a request for a private office, and I'd like to explore that with you. So first, do you mind just helping me understand your thinking in the private office request?
Sure. Thanks for your time this morning. Karen, I've been working with these big accounts. You know that I've already gotten $6 million of business for Merrill Lynch. And I think I need a more professional environment where I can entertain my clients in an office.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I just wanted you to know why I want you on the floor with the rest of everyone else. I don't want to be a micromanager. That's not what I want to do. I just think that you have a lot of knowledge and expertise that the rest of the team can learn from, and vice versa. So, they can learn from you as well, and you can learn from them by being on the floor. I do think I have a good alternative for you, and that's that you can reserve private conference rooms when you have clients coming in. And if it's a really critical client, you prefer a nicer office, you can come and ask me to use my office, and we can definitely arrange that.
Yeah, I can certainly see where you're coming from, Karen. But I really have high expectations of myself, and if you can tell me when I can get that office, so I can work towards that and hopefully justify that.
Yeah, I think you have potential down the road to eventually get to a private office, and I want to kind of explain the situation so you understand the facts. Right now we have 45 financial consultants in the office, and 20 of them have been here for over 20 years, and they still don't have a private office. Unfortunately, we only have 8 private offices right now, so it's difficult for me to justify why you should get a private office over these others who have been here a while. But I think a great step in the right direction is to have you opening some new accounts, and I think that would lead you to the path of eventually getting a private office. I'd like to set some goals for you, so if you're comfortable with it, I'm thinking, 6 months from now, we reconvene, and at that point, if you had at least 4 accounts open, I think that would be a great step for you.
Yeah, in fact, Karen, I have 1 account in the pipeline right now. So, yeah, maybe four accounts in 6 months, it does sound reasonable to me.
Great. I'm really impressed with your ambition. I think you opening that large account was a huge win for us and really shows your dedication to Merrill Lynch. I just want you to know that I'm always here for you if you need any advice or maybe some techniques on how you can get opening those new accounts in the next 6 months. I want this to be on your career plan so we can develop your skills so that eventually down the road you could get a private office. Does that sound good?
That sounds good, Karen. Yeah, I think when we meet after 6 months, I should be in a much better position to ask you for that office.
Yeah, I think 6 months from now and, just continuing to open new business will put you, in a better position that you can justify getting the private office. And again, I'm here for you, so I want to help you get to where you want to be. So let's continue to meet and we'll talk in 6 months.
Yep, I appreciate the fact that you're looking out for me and, you're making sure that I'm on the right path. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thanks, Ted.
In the second video, we try to show how Karen generally inquires to Ted and really just trying to find out what his interests are and why he wants his private office. And not only that, to get a bigger picture, but to also offer alternative solutions and really show that she's willing to back him and try to help him grow and find different ways for him to succeed going forward. So really the good clip is supposed to show that that she really does care. She doesn't come into a meeting with an agenda and just try to control the situation. That she wants to gain further information, understand where Ted is coming from, and try to basically just come up with ideas what she can do to help him attain goals. So what did you think about the second clip and how it compares to the first, and that the result was so much different?
Well, whereas in the first clip, I think, Ted left very frustrated, and Karen, just wanted to throw her arms up because she wasn't getting her point across, obviously. I think the second video showed that both parties left very content, satisfied with their goals and what they were trying to accomplish. Not only that, but Ted felt very appreciated.
Yeah, it was really the ways that she used to, just stay positive and really kind of inquire what his needs were and how to meet those, maybe and offer alternative situations since there's not an additional office. I think really helped and show that she's really there to kind of back him and there is a support, not as such a manager controlling type person. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, adding to what Amy just said, I think in the first conversation there was the whole setup was, it looked like Ted was getting very defensive with the kind of questioning Amy was doing. So I think
and it wasn't so much the inquiry, she was just kind of making statements and really assuming where you're coming from. I think that was what really showed in the first video where the problems lay. And I really think that's what showed your frustration, is that she wasn't truly inquiring into what, why you had these needs. But
yeah, it
really
became more of
with an agenda.
Right,
yeah.
It became more of a conversation where both of us left with a lot of mistrust. Because I don't think she trusts me more than what she trusted me before going into the conversation. But in the second conversation, I think Karen laid out a very good. She was very open-minded, and she was willing to understand where I was coming from.
And the transparency, I think, kind of helped you get an understanding of
exactly.
where she was coming from, and also, offering a conference room to have these conversations really just kind of shows that she's willing to do what she needs to do to help you out, but to also there's an understanding there's only one office and you are newer, so I think that just gives kind of a better solution.
No, absolutely. I think I left with a winning situation, and so did she.
Okay. What were your thoughts?
So I thought Karen did a great job in the second video, just being a lot more open, and not only did she address Ted's question about the private office, she also went into a little bit about his career development. So, she set some goals for him that might work, and she didn't even really answer his question about the private office that he can't get one now, but down the line it seemed like she offered up some suggestions about how he could move in that direction to eventually get the private office that he wants.
Yeah, I like that she didn't really give him any guarantees. And I would say also, in your delivery, you used great tone of voice, which, every good manager should use great tone when dealing with a a subordinate in this fashion.
And I think what really helped in that second video too was that Karen wasn't bringing up these outside other factors. And in this particular case, there's other things she's concerned about, like the margin trading and some other things. But in having this meeting about the office, she really just wanted to address that issue, offer solutions in that fashion, and maybe address the other concerns another time or another meeting. Whereas, you know, kind of bombarding you with all these things she's unhappy with at one time really would push you back and kind of further the idea that, you know, next time you're frustrated, you're probably not going to go to her, because then, you know, she might bring up everything that, you know, she has as an issue at that time, and that's probably, you know, not the best way to address the situation. So I think that really helps.
I thought it was great too that Karen brought in some data points in her second conversation. Like, you know, she said kind of here's what the deal is. We have 45 consultants, only 8 private offices. You know, I can't justify that for you. And I think just saying that, Ted was kind of like, yeah, you're right. You know, what would the other consultants think if I got the private office and they'd been here 20 years and they didn't get one? So I think he was also opening his eyes to why, you know, he doesn't actually deserve a private office at that time.
Just an ability to have that conversation instead of the controlling demeanor of the first conversation, to kind of open that up and, hey, let's just have, you know, a quick chat on, like, you know, kind of the plus and minus and why this can or cannot happen, I think really helps.
Plus an opportunity to reconvene and revisit these points so that both parties feel that they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the end too, like Karen really left the door open and appreciated Ted even asking a question like that, and he feels comfortable now if he has any other kind of requests in the future that he can go to her and discuss them. And it seemed like they both left feeling mutually trusting each other, and they can communicate in the future well.
Yeah, the key point was in the second conversation, Ted was no way felt he never got defensive, because
Right.
you know, Karen was very understanding throughout and kept re-emphasizing the fact that she's looking out for him, and really gave him a very set the tone in such a way that he had no reason to be defensive.
Right.
So it made him open up, and I think at the end of the day, like you said, it really enhanced the trust between them.
Okay. So I think through these conversations, we've clearly identified that in going to these meetings and addressing these situations at work, it's important not to go in with such an agenda, but go in kind of with an open mind and willingness to hear the other party's side and kind of actually inquire to what, you know, why they're asking for certain things or what they're doing, to find out their reasons, and not going and assuming these things. And I think the result has showed it's much better this way.